Hello everyone, I am Surrendal Reviews and I'm back, and I'm ready to look at some more Generation 1 Transformers. But before I get started, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and if I can't convince you, perhaps this picture of my kitten will convince you. And random fact about my cat society is that they decide to unclog toilets with grenades. But without further ado, let's get into this. So the first episode we're gonna look at is Nightmare Planet, where Daniel's nightmares might come back to slightly be a bit of a problem for the Autobots, and some of the Decepticons too. But without further ado, let's get into this. So the episode starts out with Daniel having some nightmares, but luckily Rodimus Prime is there to comfort him. And he leaves Daniel alone just in time for someone else to also be in Daniel's room. And Rodimus, Springer, and Ultra Magnus just go to a place, and the Predacons are also there, and something is really weird about this place, and a dragon comes by and picks up Springer and one of the Predacons and takes them to a castle. And there's also a princess there, something magic stone that'll defeat a dragon, and meanwhile the rest of the crew are able to defeat a giant by using a witch's spell to turn it into a toad, and a water bucket ends up defeating the witch. And as it turns out, the Quintessons are actually behind this entire scheme. And the Autobots end up realizing, after a little bit, that they are actually in one of Danny's dreams. And as it turns out, Danny is trying his best to help him, even though that the Quintessons are constantly upping the settings in terms of the nightmares. And Springer ends up defeating a dragon and is led back to the others. And yeah, Danny is eventually able to break free from the machine, and the Predacons say that they're done for today and decide to leave. And yeah, Danny is able to fight his nightmares and the episode ends. Okay, you know, I gotta say, this whole concept I think would actually really make a great two-player game. I mean, think about it. You'd have one player just inside the dream and another player just basically trying to give them things that'll maybe help them survive the dream. I mean, that would just be such a cool idea. Maybe with some creative thought that could work. But anyways, back to the episode. Overall, I will say that the episode is actually pretty good. Definitely a lot better than I actually remember it. I mean, I like the idea. I don't understand how this is going to help the Quintessons take over Cybertron, unless they were, like, on an extremely tight budget, but other than that, I gotta say, no complaints with this episode. I think it's actually paced pretty well, and yeah, I like the idea. I think it's really creative, and I like how the Autobots and Predacons are basically forced to have to work together to basically survive this. And yeah, that's really all I gotta say. I mean, the episode is pretty good, and I guess I recommend it. Surprisingly, don't remember it much, but yeah, I thought the episode would be worse than it actually was. But I think with that, on to the next episode, which is The Ultimate Weapon, where First Aid decides to quit the Protectobots. But without further ado, let's get into this. So the episode starts out with an attack going on in some random city, and the Protectobots are sent to go deal with this gang war here, and while they're dealing with this gang war here, the Decepticons are also there and shoot down Blades, and First Aid has to go take Blades back to Metroplex for repairs, and the Autobots and Decepticons fight, and Galvatron says something about a secret weapon, and that kind of makes Rodimus Prime a bit nervous. Meanwhile, with First Aid,
in about a day or so, you'll be fine. Intruders!
Hey, wait a second. Who are you? Where'd you come from? How'd you get in?
That's why the Decepticons are attacking this city. It's a diversion.
Yes, but now I have what Galvatron wanted. That transforming cog.
Put it back. Now!
What are you trying to do, First Aid? Talk me into surrendering?
That isn't a bad idea, Swindle.
Neither is this. I heard you were a pacifist, but I don't believe there's a transformer who won't fight
don't believe in fighting. I'm a medic, not a warrior.
Then you'll die for your beliefs. The cog's mine now. Metroplex is now stuck in city mode forever.
Which, I actually really like this scene because it shows that First Aid is so dedicated to his beliefs that he won't even attack Swindle even if his life basically depends on it. And kind of like with Fight or Flee, I also really like how basically this actually makes it so First Aid is even closer to basically just quitting the Protectobots temporarily and kind of just going into self-imposed exile because he blames himself for the fact that Metroplex's transformation cog got stolen. Anyways, so Trypticon ends up going on a rampage and rising from the sea, and the Autobots have to try to slow down Trypticon till they can come up with a plan on how they're going to deal with him before he gets to Metroplex, and they end up being really successful at that, in wounding Trypticon and forcing the Decepticons to retreat. But unfortunately, Defensor is kinda having a bit of a hard time with the fact that First Aid has quit, and, well, Hotspot goes to try to convince First Aid to come back. And meanwhile, the Autobots come up with a plan to steal Trypticon's transformation cog, and it goes off without a hitch. Anyways, so the Decepticons try to replace Trypticon's transformation cog, and they didn't exactly do a good job of it, as you can see, but they still sent Trypticon to go give Metroplex a bit of a thrashing, and the Autobots did the exact same thing, and Trypticon and Metroplex fight, and yeah, Metroplex isn't gonna stand a chance without his transformation cog maybe working correctly. But luckily for the Autobots, Hotspot has managed to convince First Aid in this scene here.
I wish I could be as much use to the Autobots. As I told you, I'm not a fighter, and that's what they need.
That's where you're wrong, First Aid.
Hotspot!
We have plenty of warriors, but we only have one First Aid. You're the only Autobot who can save us now.
And with a bit of convincing, First Aid is convinced to go help them, and he manages to fix Metroplex's transformation cog. And Metroplex manages to defeat Trypticon pretty spectacularly, and we get this great scene between Rodimus Prime and Galvatron.
You may have defeated Trypticon, but you haven't vanquished me!
Galvatron, I'm surprised you have the courage to stick around.
I still have my ultimate weapon, Rodimus. Surrender now, or I'll unleash its force upon you all.
You know, I think I finally started to wise up. If such a weapon existed, he'd used it a long time ago.
I tell you for the last time, Rodimus, surrender, or there won't be an Earth left to protect. Surrender! This is your last chance, or...
You're bluffing, Galvatron.
I tell you, this is the end!
You're right, it is. Because I use the real ultimate weapon, my mind.
Stay back! I said stay back! There'll be another day, Rodimus!
And we'll be ready.
And overall, I really like this episode. I think it's also one of Season 3's best episodes. And overall, I really like how First Aid grows as a character, how he goes from a pacifist who doesn't think he fits in with the Autobots to realizing that he actually is very important to the Autobots, even if he isn't a fighter. And I also really like how Rodimus Prime goes from being not very confident at the beginning of the episode to being a lot more confident to calling out Galvatron's bluff, and how it kind of mirrors First Aid's growth if you think about it. And overall, I highly recommend this thing. That's gonna do it for today. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.